It was a good day yesterday in Florida as the President of the United States came out of hiding to address the nation on live TV. Joe Biden has declined to comment. However, those who work for Joe Biden have stated that Joe Biden has been silent because he does not want to deal with somebody who has a 33% approval rating when he himself has a 60% approval rating. Either that or he just didn't know who Trump was. I mean, remember this video?
4 more years of George, he's going to find ourselves in a position where if Trump gets elected.
As you can clearly see right here, Joe Biden has a 54.9% approval rating by those who are likely registered voters. How many of these registered voters are dead is still uncertain. He also happens to have a 37.9% disapproval rating, which means that 17% of Americans are still unsure about whether or not they approve of Joe Biden. Unless, Dominion changed these records. In contrast, President Donald Trump has a 39.4% approval rating. Why is this approval rating higher than the White House reported? Because these approval votes were hacked by Russia, whereas Joe Biden's approval votes were not. In a shocking victory today, the U.S. Supreme Court, which has 3 conservative justices, has formally rejected any claim that the election was inaccurate. However, in an interesting turn of events, the U.S. Supreme Court has granted review in a case alleging that the patent judges of the Federal Circuit Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit were unconstitutionally appointed to their position. In other words, the Supreme Court will not even look at a case regarding one individual, but they are willing to oust over 250. It's as though the Supreme Court cares more about judges who judge patents than they do about the highest office in the country. This was definitely the most accurate election in all of U.S. history, as Biden received... How many votes did you receive, Joe?
The 230,000 Americans.
That's right. Former President Donald Trump states that he plans on running again in 2024 and beating his Democratic opponent for a 3rd time.
To lose the White House decisively 4 years from now. Actually, as you know, they just lost the White House, but it's one of those things. But who knows? Who knows? I may even decide to beat them for a 3rd time.
He's likely going to come back with revenge, so you need to make sure that those Dominion machines are calibrated properly and destroy all evidence that you can. Who am I kidding? The courts aren't going to care if we cheat or not. Rest assured, the Democrats will definitely win in 2024 in a very honest and accurate election. In other news, qualified immunity, a doctrine invented by the U.S. Supreme Court to shield government officials from liability for violating constitutional rights, has been granted to a police officer who lit an individual on fire and burned his house down. However, it has been denied to a guard who pepper sprayed a murderer, claiming that this is cruel and unusual punishment. But burning someone and his house down is not a clearly established violation of cruel and unusual punishment or excessive force. Breaking news from the Washington State Supreme Court: certain controlled substances known as drugs are a constitutional right. That's good to know. But religious services is not a constitutional right. At least, not when the state Supreme Court says it isn't. Also in Supreme Court news, Clarence Thomas and his wife have been called upon by Democrats to be investigated. They claim that it's because his wife has ties to the insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th. It's been recently ruled by the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals that a gun maker cannot be sued for gun anxiety. All gun makers ought to be held 100% accountable for my anxiety that I might get shot. Same as how Biden should be held responsible for a Republican's anxiety that he might take over the country as a dictator. Oh, and putting a newborn baby in a trash can and waiting for that child to die? That is not considered attempted murder. But what's most upsetting about our news today is that a federal judge has blocked enforcement of Joe Biden's 100-day immigrant deportation freeze. Say goodbye to your guns, as the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals en banc panel is going to rehear a ruling by the panel of 3 judges last year holding that California's ban on high-capacity magazines violated the Second Amendment, which guarantees the right to keep and bear arms for self-defense. Oh, and remember your Fourth Amendment right to be secure from unreasonable searches and seizures? Well, the First Circuit Court of Appeals has joined many other federal circuit courts of appeal in holding that suspicionless border patrol searches of electronic devices for no reason at all whatsoever does not violate the Fourth Amendment. Because that's not really a search, it's an inspection, which is not the same thing. Just in from Texas, Governor Greg Abbott ends all mask mandates and reopens Texas 100%, signing an executive order effective next week. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Dom A Nation, where we trump truth with facts. But these people...
We choose truth over facts.